This video is going to be a look at the Lions' dominant win over the Falcons in Week 3. I know that 20-6 doesn't sound dominant, but if you watch the game flow and see how well the Lions defense played, it looks like a totally different group from last week. Some interesting things that I think they did in terms of a personnel standpoint. You have to talk about Brian Branch if you're going to talk about the defense today. He did draw 2 penalties, both of which I thought were kind of BS. They were personal fouls. I'm not sure about the horse collar call. It looked like to me he grabbed Bijan Robinson's outside of his shoulder, his jersey that hugs the arm. I didn't know that that was a horse collar call, but he was elite everywhere he went today in coverage. I mean, he covered Drake London twice, blanketed him. A pass defense one time, and the other time was a third down. Multiple tackles. He's a sure tackler. I mean, he's in the back. He's making plays in the backfield. He's a tone setter. Brian Branch had an incredible impact today all over the field, and it looks like he can do that every week. He's just a special player. The Lions are lucky to have him, certainly with the absence of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. The edge play was interesting to me. I'm going to talk about the possession flow, to be honest with you. I'm going to gloss over the offense for real. This is a focus on their defense, and that'll probably be the first set of videos I try to do this week for the Lions. But I saw Derek Barnes and Jack Campbell at outside linebacker some. And I don't mean outside linebacker like off-ball linebacker, which there is no position called that, but that's a topic for another video. I mean on the line of scrimmage, playing outside linebacker. I saw Campbell there early, and I think the last play of the second half, he may have been blitzing there, but Barnes definitely, when he got his sack, was lined up as an edge defender, 5 technique, outside shade of the tackle. Additionally, I thought the Lions showed a 4-3 look a handful of times. Now, a couple of times it looked like it was a strong safety or nickel in the box, but it looked to me, just on first glance, like there was times where they had Campbell, Barnes, and Anzalone on at the same time. Malcolm Rodriguez got rotated into there as well, but it looked to me like there was times where those guys were walking up to blitz, and if somebody motioned away, they would back up and make it look like a 4-3 look. But, I can't tell. Like I said, I just watched the defense one time through. Barnes and Campbell both had sacks. Aiden Hutchinson had 2. Lions had 7 overall. The D tackles got involved. Romeo Okwara, I thought, had 4 or 5 really good reps. Of course, he had the pass deflection that Tracy Walker almost intercepted. Charles Harris finally finished the sack. I thought prior to this week there had been at least 2 opportunities for him to get sacks. I feel like finishing tackles is an issue for him, but today he finished the play. Overall, they really stymied the Falcons' run game. I mean, Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier are both really difficult to tackle and corral. Robinson, 10 carries, 33 yards. Algier, 7 for 12. And I think Robinson has an 11-yard run in there, and I believe another 8-yard run in the first half. So he really got shut down. Overall, the Falcons had 20 carries for 44 yards. Now, that's consistent in terms of the Lions holding down or limiting opposing teams' run games. So here's what you got through 3 games if you're a Lions fan. Today, the Falcons generate 44 yards on 20 carries. Last week, the Seahawks, of course, they have a super talented running back as well, Kenneth Walker III, 25 carries for 82 yards. In week 1 against the Chiefs did run for 90 yards, but Mahomes had 45 of that. So you're talking 3 games overall, I think 206 yards rushing overall through 3 games. That's a great start for them. They haven't had trouble, it doesn't seem like, overall. I thought Jerry Jacobs played well, even though he did draw 2 penalties, one of which I thought was an obvious pass interference call. He played with a lot of force, though. He stepped up and made some tackles. I thought his coverage looked pretty sticky most of the time. He had a lot of low hits off that left side of the Lions' defense, right side of the Falcons' offense. To me, it looked like him and Sutton were switched sides today. But I may be wrong on that. You guys let me know what your impression was. Tracy Walker nearly had 2 interceptions. Late in the game, he jumped one and almost picked it off. He looks like a guy who looks for opportunities, and I don't know a whole lot about him, to be honest with you, but he looks like a guy who looks for opportunities to jump stuff as a safety, which I equate that with being very intelligent and very aware. Because look at this. Look at it this way. Drake London and Kyle Pitts, they got held down completely. Combined for 7 catches, 72 yards on 15 targets. That's 2 very talented big targets. 15 attempts where Desmond Ridder tried to throw them the football. They only got 7 catches for 72 yards. Brian Branch, I thought, was a big part of that. Great job overall. Let's take a look at some of the big plays from the game. We'll let the stats show here real quick. Defensive stats. Maybe that font's a little bit small, but first possession, 3 and out for the Falcons. Again, I'm focusing on the Lions defense. 3 and out. Pass to Algier on the 3rd and 3, first possession, and Anzalone did a great job. Branch was on the inside receiver, Pitts, and Sutton was on London. To the offense's left, the defense's right. You got double slants. Anzalone is man on the back. Him and Branch just exchange lanes perfectly. Anzalone goes underneath. Branch goes over the top. Ridder throws it to the running back, Algier, who's a difficult guy to tackle, like I said earlier. And Anzalone, great play, I thought. Perfectly covered to force a punt. Lions offense had to punt as well on their first possession. And then a long down situation. It's 2nd and 8 for the Falcons. And Benito Jones gets a sack to force a 3rd and long, 3rd and 16. And Ridder tries to go to, I think he's looking at London off the left side, but it's Barnes with the sack lined up over the right tackle. So consecutive plays, you get sacks by Jones and Barnes, 2 guys that had not contributed in that way in terms of sacks yet. So huge moment for them. The Lions' second possession was a long one. They do go down and they finish it to go up to 3-0 with a field goal. About 1:45 left in the first quarter. Falcons' third possession, they kind of get some things going. Under center counterplay, and I think this is Bijan Robinson's biggest run of the game. 11 yards, really cool play the way they block it. Romeo Okwara, I thought, had 2 good reps on this drive. And then Branch, his impact was just widespread. He has a tackle for loss here. The Falcons do get a big completion to Pitts versus zone. I thought the 2nd and 10 was a really nice play to the boundary by number 6. It was a screen to Algier. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. And then the 3rd and 14, Branch is covering London on a slant in the slot from the left-hand side, gets a pass defensed. Holds the Falcons to a field goal for a 3-3 tie, about 12 minutes, maybe 11 and a half left in the second quarter. Lions offense comes back with a long touchdown pass to Laporta, which is a really well-designed play. Make it 10-3 with about 10 minutes left in the second quarter. And Atlanta's 4th possession, 3-and-out punt. Branch, with an unbelievable play, a one-hand tip. The awareness that he has on play-action stuff is elite. He thinks it's run, comes downhill a little bit, sees its pass, turns his back to the quarterback, runs out to his zone, and is able to turn and recover and jump and get one hand up. It's one of the best plays I've seen in a long time on a play-action concept. And then a 3rd and 9 pass incomplete to Pitts, so force another punt. At this point, when the Lions go down to take a 13-3 lead, I think Goff is 14 of 16, maybe it's 15 of 17 passing. Falcons get the ball, 1:50 left, 5th possession. Another sack, this one by McNeil, who's an underrated player. Screen to Bijan Robinson on 3rd and 14, gets a first down to the right-hand side. And then Jack Campbell ends the first half with another sack. Really a huge reversal in terms of sacks and ability to pressure the quarterback for the Lions with how difficult it was last week for them. They got stopped on the opening possession of the third quarter, they being the Lions offense, and then the Falcons' 7th possession. They go down, they miss a field goal from the 47. Hutchinson has a great play here. Him and Kaminsky. On a 3rd and 6, Atlanta's kind of moved the ball here a little bit. A couple outside zone plays, a pass to Algier in the right flats, and I think he ran through contact from Anzalone and Branch. And then Branch on the very next play gets a tackle for loss. 3rd and 6 from the Lions 34. The Falcons line up and run the football. And look, I'm a Ravens fan, so they did this last year to us. They ran the ball twice on 3rd and 6. Very surprising in the modern day of football. But Hutchinson and Kaminsky on the backside, they did a fantastic job. Hutchinson running down the line of scrimmage to get it to be first contact. But Kaminsky on the play is an attempted cut, I believe, by the guard. I think it was the guard. Kaminsky actually like sprawls. If you got any wrestling experience or MMA or whatever, he sprawls and gets back up and gets involved in the tackle too. I thought that was a great moment to limit Bijan Robinson. A stretch to the left, outside zone concept to the left to 1 yard, and then the 47-yarder is missed, I think wide left. Lions defense just put on a show in the third quarter. 2 stops, 8th possession, couple of big hits in the secondary. I think one of which was by Tracy Walker, forced a punt late in the third quarter, and then the next possession for the Falcons, an incomplete pass by Ritter in zone on 3rd and 17, but you had a close to a forced fumble by Charles Harris on a first down sack that really set the tone for that 9th possession, set the Falcons back. Then Romeo Okwara on the 2nd down tips the ball in the air, almost intercepted by Tracy Walker. 3rd and 17, Ritter's pass, like I said, is incomplete versus zone. Another punt. Goff did throw the interception to end the third quarter. I think it was the last play of the third quarter, or maybe the next last play. And Atlanta's 10th possession, they go for it on 4th down, and Branch is on London. Branch kind of slips and falls down. The ball's a little bit high. I think there's some pressure on London from Hutchinson. Jacobs also had a great play to tackle Algier on the left-hand side on that same counter play out of the eye that Bijan Robinson hit for 11 yards earlier. And then that 4th and 5, Branch covering London. I mean, it's the best wide receiver that the Falcons have, and Branch just blankets him. Lions offense goes down. Goff keeps it on a zone read concept for a 20-3 lead. Look, the Lions defense I thought was in control throughout. You could say the game wasn't over until they got another stop. Well, the strip sack by Hutchinson. But really, they were in control. You had the one possession when the Falcons go down to make it 20-6, where I thought the Lions kind of changed their coverages a little bit. I could be wrong. My first impression was it seemed like a little bit softer coverages, less pressure. And who knows how much carryover there'll be, but the talent is there, clearly, for the Lions. Brian Branch is as good as it gets as a nickel defender. It's not that other guys on the field for the Lions aren't very talented as well. But to me, he sticks out. He makes plays all over the field, covers people, tackles in the backfield. Very sure tackler, and is also very strong. I was super impressed by him today, and he's a guy that I thought played at a really high level against the Chiefs, and today may have exceeded that. The pressure, the sacks, 7 sacks, it may be an anomaly for any team. You can't expect to have 7 sacks every week. But with Aiden Hutchinson on the field, you expect to get pressure and you expect to get sacks. It was good to see other guys, Barnes, Benito Jones, getting involved. Jack Campbell with the sack to end the second quarter, like I said. Other people getting involved in that so that it's not all on Aiden Hutchinson. He'll heat up, I have no doubt. He probably could have had a sack to end the Seahawks' possession on the game-winning touchdown pass to Tyler Lockett. And we all know that he got held, and the right tackle for the Chiefs was doing things that were blatantly illegal throughout that game. I have no doubt that Aiden Hutchinson will finish with 6, 8, 10, 12 sacks, somewhere in that range, probably closer to 8 or 10. The guy's just super talented. This Lions defense came to play today. You got to give Aaron Glenn credit. Offense was efficient. I mean, look, the offense averaged 7.3 or 7.4 yards per play, but the defense held the Falcons to 2.8 yards per play. I'm sorry, the Lions averaged 5.6 yards per play. Overall, held the Falcons to 2.8 yards per play, 3.1 yards per pass, 2.2 yards per rush. Unbelievable effort. If you're a Lions fan, you listen this long, first of all, thank you. Second of all, let me know what you thought of the defense in the comment section. I'm sure that for the people that were there or the people that were watching live, I wasn't able to because the Ravens were playing at 1. It had to be fun to watch, especially as the pressure mounted on the Falcons. And then once Goff kept it for the touchdown to make it 20-3, you knew that all things were right with the Lions football world, at least for this week. Getting to 2-1 after games against the Chiefs, Seahawks, and the Falcons is probably right in line with where most people expected them to be. But we know as Lions fans and the organization has incredibly high goals, and they really wanted to be 3-0. Appreciate you guys' time. If you think other Lions fans would enjoy this content, please consider grabbing a link to this, sharing it out on social media. to help this content get more reach.